Before I start my double conversion lesson, I want to show you something that people struggle with. They don't understand that we have three different bases, and there are three different types of measuring, okay? I have grams if I'm measuring mass, I have liters if I'm measuring volume, and then I also have meters if I'm measuring distance. So these are interchangeable. 1 kilo anything equals 1,000 kilo anything. What does that mean? That means 1 kilogram equals 1,000 kilograms. Okay? 1 kiloliter equals 1,000 liters. And then we have 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. So when I make my conversion factors, a kilo, let's just switch that to grams. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. And I can interchange my bases depending on the type of measurement I'm using. So when you don't see every single type of conversion, I couldn't write them all down, and nor would you want to when you make your cheat sheet. Just know that these guys are interchangeable. So looking at our chart, and this is the only part that you had to make, you'll notice that all our conversions, kilometers go to meters, okay? Or that could be kilograms go to grams. Hectometers go back to meters. That could be hectoliters, hectograms, going back to liters or grams. All these conversions take part of our chart and bring it back to our base, okay? So here we have centigrams going to grams. That's centigrams converting it to our base. But what if I want to go from centigrams to kilograms? Everything needs to be converted to your base first, be it meters, liters, or grams, and then convert it to your next prefix. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and there is a stepwise path that I want you to write down, so take notes. So two-step conversions with dimensional analysis. Although there's two steps to convert, we are going to do this in one equation or one set of conversions. So let's talk about this. How many hours are in 5,825 seconds? Well, right now, off the top of my head, I'm going to say I don't know how to go from hours to seconds, but I do know how to go from seconds to minutes, and then I can go from minutes to hours. So I can do two conversions to get there. So what I want to do is I want to write a path. And I am going to start at seconds, that's my given, and I'm going to go to minutes. That's going to be my first conversion. And then I'm going to go to hours. That's going to be my second conversion. We have an equivalent statement or a true statement, so I can make conversions with this, right? And remember, they can flip. So 1 minute is also 60 seconds. Okay? Now, 60 minutes equals an hour. Or it's true that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Notice, it doesn't matter if minutes is on top or the bottom. 60 always stays with it, and that's part of the key to understanding this. So, we write down the given. Remember, we have our lovely little chart. Let's put it up here. We have given, and then we get rid of our given units, and we go to our wanted units. That's our template. You're going to have that on your first worksheet. You might want to write this on every worksheet so you know what you're doing. So I start with my given, 5,825 seconds, and I am going to do my first conversion. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Do I want seconds? I do not want seconds. How do I get rid of it? I put it on the bottom. And I go to my first step, which is I go to minutes. Okay? Now I cross out seconds and I'm at minutes, and now I need to plug in the true statement. And it is true that there are 60 seconds, notice 60 goes with seconds, for every 1 minute. That means I use this version of my conversion, okay? And now, I don't want minutes. That is not my final answer, okay? I want to go to hours, so I need to convert that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Do I want minutes? I do not want minutes. How do I get rid of minutes? I put it on the bottom. Notice seconds are already gone, okay? So now my minutes are gone, and I want to go to hours. I got rid of the units that I had there, and I go to the units that I want. And I now go from minutes to hours. That's my second step. And the true statement is for every 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Now, put this in your calculator. Well, I multiply by the top, I divide by the bottom. Hit equals between every single step. Multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. Okay? So, here is my calculator, and I am going to put in my 5,825 seconds. I'm going to multiply by 1. You don't have to do that. Why? Because let's do that again. 5,825 times 1 equals, it's the same number, and hit equals, divide by 60, and hit equals, okay? And now I multiply by this one on top, which you don't have to do because it's going to stay the same number, and then I'm going to divide again by 60, and I'm going to get equals 1.618, and I'm left with hours, and that's my answer. 4 significant figures in my given number, so I have 4 significant figures there, and notice I ended there, and the 0 that I'm not using does not round the 8, okay? So that's how we do our two-step conversions. This is dimensional analysis. This is what you're learning. You have to show me these steps, okay? So you need to write your path, and this has 2 different conversions I have to use, which means I should have 2 of these conversion things in parentheses. So I start with my given, I get rid of my given unit and go to the first conversion I can do, and then I get rid of my given unit and go to my second one, and I use 2 conversion factors here, okay? So now, how are we going to use this with our dimensional analysis and our two-step conversions with scientific metric system? Okay, so now we're going to use this template with our metric system. So have your handy-dandy chart. I'm converting centimeters to millimeters. So I'm going from centimeters to millimeters. Notice, my conversions all go to my base. So I have to go to my base first and then come back. So anytime I am converting with my metric system, I need to go to my base first. Okay? So here I'm converting from centimeters to millimeters. My base is meters. So my conversion is centimeters to meters to millimeters. And I'm going to spread this out, okay? And you'll see why. Centimeters to meters to millimeters. This is my path. I first write down my given. My given is 4.0 centimeters. Okay? Now, I have 2 hops here. So I have 2 conversions. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. First step, do I want centimeters anymore? I do not. How do I get rid of it? I put it on the bottom. And my first jump is going to my base, which is meters. Okay, now my centimeters are gone. I'm left with meters. Now, I am going to say that in 1 meter, I have 100 centimeters. That's because that's how I remember it. Okay, I have a meter stick here. And my meter stick goes to 100 centimeters. So in 1 meter, I have 100 centimeters. It also shows you that 1 centimeter, okay, or 1 centigram is 0.01 meters. So I can use 1 centimeter is 0.01 meters, right? Because it's the tiny piece of this whole meter stick. So sometimes remembering your meter stick will help you make sense. You don't flip around these conversions. Okay, I don't have 100 meters in one tiny little centimeter. Think about your meter stick there. Okay, so that's our first hop, and now I need to go to millimeters. Okay, so do I want meters anymore? I do not want meters anymore. I want millimeters, and in 1 meter I have 1,000 millimeters. It is also true that in 1 meter, remember this doesn't have to be grams, this could be meters, okay, in 1 millimeter, that is a tiny piece of a meter stick, 0.001, and you can use either conversion, okay, but I always remember this, and you guys probably do too. So multiply, divide, hit equals between everything so your calculator doesn't mess up. 4.0 times 1, I don't have to do the times 1, it'll keep divided by 100, equals, okay, and then I'm going to times it by 1,000 equals, and then I can divide by 1 if I want to, but it's going to keep it exactly the same, and that is going to equal 40. And how do I know my units? Well, my centimeters crossed out, my meters crossed out, I'm left with millimeters. Notice this is a pattern. Learn the pattern. It'll make your life much easier. If you find the pattern in any of your classwork, everything has patterns, it makes life a lot easier. Now I have one last step. How many significant figures do I need? Well, conversion factors do not count as significant figures, so all I'm looking at is my starting number, my first non-zero number, I have a decimal, everything to the right, I have 2 sig figs. So I'm going to underline my 2 sig figs, that's how many I need. Right now I do decimal, so it means I only have 1, but if I put a decimal there, I have 2 sig figs, and the number's naked, no naked numbers, so that is millimeters. And it does make sense that I'm going from centimeters to millimeters, okay? So in 4 centimeters, I have a lot of tiny little millimeters. So make sure you set it up this way. Make sure you show me your sig figs and your units for full credit.